Hello, it's Levi. Um, this is my presentation for EET 312. For my summer, for something I did over summer was an internship with the machine lab and kind of with automation, where I learned a lot of cool stuff. It was great, especially with the corona virus. Still having a technical internship was definitely a blessing. But this is my presentation on it. So the machine lab has been around for a while. I don't know exactly when it was built, but 30s and 40s it's been around the ring, or whatever you want to say. There's been a lot of different equipment that's went through there. Some of this equipment's been there for a very long time. These bandsaws have been there since I think the 30s or 40s. The one professor told me. So this is what it looked like before. All this stuff was very functional, but it was not necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing, which, wasn't a big deal, but as a premier technical institution, it didn't exactly show our capabilities and how good our education was. So updating it was a good thing to do. So the floors were old, they were worn down from all the different students. The equipment wasn't the tip-top shape because of how many times and how many students have crashed the lathe or whatever it may be. There's been a lot that has happened to it. So after the renovation, you can see this is a view from above, in the middle of having everything moved over, and this is right at the end. But there was a lot of new equipment. They added protracts that were CNC for both CNC lathes and CNC mills, but they could also be used as manuals, which was a great thing. So you can learn both manual operation and CNCs, which is important if you're trying to start out with a solid base. But as you can see, they're brand new protract mills, and these are new protract lathes. These are ones that exist before. They have some acers, some surface grinders, all that. They didn't have a lot of good pictures of that, so I couldn't show them as well. But they're great machines. So they had to have power supplied to them. They weren't as heavy as you may think. They're only about I think they're 8.5 amps, 208 volts. So they're three-phase, but they weren't ridiculously power. They don't have a ridiculous power pool. But they were very efficient. So they're nice. You could throw these in a home shop easily. Wiring them up was great. The mills require an air source as well for this ratchet, where it ratchets down the collets and all the tools down here. So they do that via air instead of the wrenches you do on like a Bridgeport. So that was interesting. So you had to supply both of them, which was not. So you had to have the airlines. There's one central airline running through the top of the area, top of the ceiling, and you had to grab it off and put, splitters and all that, and valves. So that was a good learning experience to do a lot with pneumatics. I had a little bit of pneumatic experience for my forge, but not quite as much as I may have liked. But yeah, that's what it looks like afterwards. It's not the best view, but you can see drastic. The floors are new, the walls were repainted, new cabinets. I mean, this is a before and after, side by side. It's drastic. Really does show you just very concentrated, and everything was made sure to be the best. There were no corners cut. So what were my duties? So the picture on the left over here is my day-to-day job, or my day-to-day life a lot during the summer. I was standing up there in the ceiling, wiring up the boxes, and I was, hooking up the mills, all that, and running the airlines. I don't think I'm on the wrong side of the airline, so you can't see it. Or it might be higher up. I think it's up above this part of the ceiling. But so the bus bar runs here, and you'd take the panels and run the three-phase off of it. So that took a lot of time. That may seem basic. Oh, it's 3 wires, 3 wires out. But not everything's labeled correctly, and not it's even, especially for the old machines, you don't know which phase goes where, so you gotta test it and flip it, and it takes a lot of time, especially when there's a lot of new machines. There were 47 new machines brought in, so it takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication and just like paying attention, doing everything right. It can get very monotonous. This is me inside of the breaker, one of the boxes. It had some fuses and such. I don't have a picture of it, but it was using lifts, so it's something I'd done before, but good experience using lifts, and being around doing a technical thing of on the job, not just doing something in the classroom where it's still useful but not, the tip top. But doing this was really getting into the knit and grit of it, of making sure everything works. There's, problems, whatever. You would run into a lot of problems like, oh, there is no wire. There isn't one of these boxes for 15 feet. So we have to move this, and taking that off of the bus bar was a chore, but learning how to do that was interesting. Or a fuse is bad, or oh no, this one has different fuses. There's always something to be run into, because over the years it's been a lot that's changed with it, and it's not all uniform, unfortunately. But once we got it all done, it was great. Just took a lot of time. So I think this is Connor actually, but there was no good pictures of me wiring. But this is one of the Bridgeport controls, the on-offs. This is an example of having to switch each of the ones. This is the newer one, but this is the input, the input wires coming down from the bus bar. But it was really interesting just seeing everything that was involved. I mean, it wasn't necessarily it wasn't super difficult and it was monotonous, but you still learned a lot just by doing minor problem solving. Like, this isn't a normal Romex connector, this is what you're expecting, but that's not what you got. So just small things like that do teach you a lot. Or how to changing wire sizes, or learning how to pull it through, or having, wire pulling lubrication to make sure it gets through whatever it may be. You just got to make it work, and having more experience, quote quote, making it work is a valuable skill to have, and I'm very glad I learned that over the summer. Beyond that, with the automation lab, you have a lot of more automation-based stuff with the conveyor belt being moved. I mean, I helped move it, obviously, with Mr. Newhart, and we reconfigured it, we re-leveled it, all of that. Pulled the wires through the raceways. There's a lot of different stuff entailed, and there's like a lot of just continuation of technical education, of just being aware of what it takes to work and making sure I got my hands dirty. It's definitely something that just teaches you more and more, that you just have to come every single day prepared to work. Show up with a smile on your face, and don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, and you'll do a lot of good work. And that's something that I definitely think I learned from the internship. But overall, the internship was a great experience, and I'm very happy I did it. Looking forward to putting those technical skills to use in a full-time position soon,